Welcome to Frequency Matters, the RF and Microwave Update series. I'm Pat Hindle. I'm here with my co-host Gary LaRude. In this episode, we're going to take a look at our March test and measurement issue. The cover feature is written by Roda and Schwartz, and it's a very good story about how to significantly reduce test time and utilize equipment for 5G base station testing. And they talk how you can take the new radio specifications and make them in parallel and realize about a 10% or more improvement in test time over a serialization process. So
interesting.
Very good innovation, very practical, things that we really need to reduce the cost of 5G.
Right.
What do we have for technical features?
Well, on the test and measurement theme, Roos Instruments has contributed an article on the advantages of modular for millimeter wave tests. Then we have a silicon-focused article from Tower Semiconductor, what we used to call Tower Jazz, that talks about some of the specialty silicon process technologies that are being used for 5G front-end modules. We also have from Monolithics an article on scalable and 3D EM simulation type models that they've put together for passive components. And then our fabs and labs for this issue is from Anokiwave. They're a test and measurement company based in Switzerland.
Chock full of test and measurement for sure.
Exactly.
And for product feature, we had a 20 gigahertz synthesizer that has very fast switching time and very low phase noise. From a new company we recently came across, Trisynth Technologies, so that's an interesting one to check out.
Yeah, their performance was really impressive, I thought.
How about tech briefs?
Tech briefs, we've got 4 from Copper Mountain on the test and measurement theme. They have an automatic calibration module which simplifies calibration on their vector network analyzers, also can reduce the error from the calibration. And then from Signal Hound, they have a new 50 megahertz to 6 gigahertz vector signal analyzer. And Eclipse MDI has a MMIC distributed amplifier that goes from DC to 20 gigahertz. It's a driver amplifier with better than 20 dBm output power at 1 dB compression. And then the last one is rather interesting from Mecca Electronics. In this era when suppliers are obsoleting products, the government has come up with a program called Diminishing Manufacturing Sources and Material Shortages.
Say that 3 times fast.
They couldn't make it short. But Mecca Electronics has really taken this to heart, and they have a process and a system whereby they're trying to assure customers of long-lived parts for their defense programs. So definitely a need in the industry.
So turning to the news, Marvell, who we don't usually hear from in the RF space, announced they're collaborating with Analog Devices to bring complete 5G solutions to the market. So they're going to take their digital front-end ASICs and tightly couple them with Analog Devices' wideband RF transceivers to make a fully optimized system. So we really are seeing a change in the marketplace in 5G. We're seeing how companies are really collaborating to deliver full chains all the way from the processor to baseband to antenna.
Right.
And used to be RF companies just concentrated on the RF front end, and that was about it. But now with Analog Devices expanding to the baseband, and then some of these processing companies like Xilinx and Marvell coming in on the processor, and also Qualcomm, it's a full end-to-end system, and we're really seeing that need to be able to optimize a system to do all levels of integration. So what did you see in the news?
Well, related to that, Anokiwave announced the 3rd generation of their beamforming IC family for 5G type applications. This is really impressive. You know, the 3rd generation, they've got products that cover all the bands for 5G, so 24, 26, 28, 37, 39. And they're really expanding to try to do most of the signal chain in the basically the front end. So that's impressive. Also, they've set up a supply chain, if you will, through Global Foundries. It's very scalable. So Global Foundries, of course, does the wafer fab. They do wafer scale packaging and millimeter wave test. So Anokiwave's in a position that they can support lower volume macro, they can support small cells, repeaters, and even the customer equipment. And as you know, we had a visit a little bit earlier in the studio from Abhishek Kapoor, who's the VP of Sales at Anokiwave, and he gave us an update on what they're doing. Let's watch a segment of that interview. So in addition to these market trends, tell us more about what's been going on at Anokiwave.
Yeah, so this growth in millimeter wave market has translated directly into growth for Anokiwave. We actually recently did a study with an outside consultant, and what the conclusion was that today Anokiwave is the highest volume supplier of millimeter wave silicon core ICs commercially used for building 5G and SATCOM radios. That was a pretty eye-opening moment for us and a proud moment for us, but that speaks to some of the choices that we made a long time ago as a company. So we are that translates into growth for us as a company at an engineering level, operational level, and other areas. From our company standpoint, we doubled the space in our Boston office, or doubled our Boston team, I would say, early last year. And early this year, we have tripled our San Diego office. And this is in addition to the new design center we have opened up in Austin. And there's more to come in terms of design centers and other things. We are growing as a company, and there's a massive demand that we have to support and new product generations that we have to support. From a product standpoint, we released our third generation of 5G ICs early last year, and second generation of our SATCOM ICs. All those ICs are in full volume production and are already being used by tier 1 and tier 2 OEMs across the globe. So that is playing a very key part in the 5G systems out in the market. As part of our third generation 5G ICs, we also introduce IF up and down converters. So that we call that as IF ICs. That allows now our customers to build a complete array level solution which is optimized for performance. Instead of coming up with just an IFIC just for the sake of coming up with IFIC, the goal is how can we provide an optimized array level performance that helps our customer at their system level. And that's what we are trying to do.
Well, it's great to hear from Abhishek again. He's been on the show a few times. It's always good to get an update on the millimeter wave markets from him.
They're very impressive what they're doing.
So turning to events, we didn't go to Mobile World Congress because it was canceled. So Gary and I spent that whole week putting together what you would have seen at Mobile World Congress 2020.
Right.
So we covered about 35 companies, quite a few on the RF and microwave perspective. So you can take a look at that article and you'll get caught up on what would have happened.
Exactly. Well, companies put a lot of preparation into it, and the event was canceled, and they still had all this information that they're trying to get out. So.
Yeah, we went over all the releases, and a lot of companies set up conference calls, so we kind of did it virtually.
Well, related to the coronavirus, our own EDICon China show has been rescheduled. It was going to happen in Beijing in May, and it's a little iffy what the situation will be in May. So we've delayed that to the 27th, 28th of September. And it will still be in Beijing at the CNCC where it's always been. And I think that's a wrap for this episode.
It is.
We want to thank our sponsors, RFMW, the pure play RF distributor. RF is all they do, as they say. And we're joined on this episode by Anokiwave, and we want to thank them for their sponsorship. They're really a pioneer in the millimeter wave space, enabling millimeter wave communications with a vision that's been translated into very high performance, highly integrated silicon RFICs. And we want to thank you for watching. You're the ones that make this possible. Until next time.